when I was an artist, I would always doubt myself and I would always think, I'm a phony. Why am I doing this? Why couldn't I just have chosen like a different path? But I love this so much. So what are the common themes that you come across that limit people?
I think it's self-sabotage, as you said, imposter syndrome. And I also think internet is fantastic, do not get me wrong. But I feel like because there's so much out there, everyone gets so distracted on other people's journeys, compare where they're at to where they're at, and they think, well, maybe I should be that. I should be right now, I should have that. Whereas they don't see all the work that goes behind the scenes.
This is episode 126.
I am so happy that you're here and thank you for joining my show, your coach, Helen Yuskovic. I am on a worldwide mission to help people get confident in putting themselves first because I used to put myself second my whole life. And because of that, I experienced every unhealthy relationship possible. An unhealthy relationship with myself, my health, my wealth, my intimate relationships, my family, my friends, and my career. I'm now living in an abundance that I used to just dream about, so I want to pave the way for you too. It's time, guys. It's time that you live in the life of your dreams as well. So let's take a step towards that right now. P.S. Subscribe to my podcast on your app now so that you always tune in to my new episodes.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I have one of my childhood mentors here today, and her name is Stacey Jane. Don't feel old, Stacey. I went and saw Stacey when I was in the entertainment industry, and I needed a vocal coach, and I had actually had a few in my life, but then I saw Stacey, and you know what? I can't even remember how I found you, but back in those days, it wouldn't have been Facebook and it wouldn't have been Instagram. I have no idea how I found you, but I was so glad I did. Yeah, it was like a whole different era back then. And she is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all things performing and creativity and believing in yourself. And she really, really was a stepping stone in my journey when I got to work for about a decade. I was in the music industry before I sort of changed my life path to more of a health and wellness avenue. And so, Stacey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so exciting to have you here. Before we dive into the show, can you just share a brief history about you, how you got here, what have you done? Because you're just remarkable.
Oh my God, how much time do you have? Singing from a really, really young age, and then kind of grew up around music, and then I got to a point where I think I was about 14, 15, and I was at a performing arts school and I was helping lots and lots of people. And I think it was just like a natural thing to help people. And so, yeah, I remember just people like, oh, how do you hear that? Or what do you do? And how do you do this when you sing that note? And I just remember going, oh, do this or do that. And then I was like, oh, I love helping people. And then my teacher at the time said, oh, do you want to teach some of the babies? I was like, yes.
Oh, wow.
I do. And there were about 3 or 4 or 5. And then eventually I just started teaching some of the juniors in the performing arts studio. And then I just fell in love with the process, still singing and songwriting and performing. And just, I think it's about the helping of the people and understanding because you've been there. And then, yeah, got 2 recording contracts. That was an experience.
Wow.
And performing, and then furthered my education in voice coaching because I just thought, you know what, I need to equip myself. I need to understand. And so here I am now teaching 25 years later.
Isn't it
39,
crazy?
Yeah.
time and how it just passes and it feels like no time has passed.
Yeah, I still think it's the 90s.
So you mentioned how you got 2 recording contracts, was it?
I did. Yeah, one when I was 12. That was amazing. And then one when I was 16. And yeah, different era back then. So it was, you had to work from the ground up. There was no Instagram. There was no TikTok. There was no internet. Oh, there was, but it wasn't really what it is now. So it was about, working everything from the ground up, having your songs, writing, being in the studio 12, 14-hour days, plus doing a HSC. Would not recommend at a performing arts college. And yeah, inexperienced.
That's so remarkable. You were so young, and it was back in the days. We can say that now. It's absolutely mind-blowing to see how much more accessible being a performing artist is now with social media, TikTok and YouTube, and how much more you can help yourself. Spotify. We didn't even have Spotify.
We did not.
That's so amazing.
We had CDs and cassettes.
Yeah, so this
And the
is
radio.
Exactly. I remember taping songs off the radio. Yep. So anyway, it's good news for creative artists having all of this accessibility.
Amazing news for them, yeah.
So Stacey, let's dive into the mindset of creative artists, performing artists, because I'm sure you've taught many students, and there must be some common themes that you come across. We've worked together before with mindset stuff and students.
Yeah.
So what are the common themes that you come across that you feel may limit some of your students? I know, before you answer that question, that when I was an artist, I would always doubt myself. And I would always think, I'm a phony. Why am I doing this? Why couldn't I just have chosen like a different path? But I love this so much. So what are the common themes that you come across that limit people?
I think it's self-sabotage. As you said, imposter syndrome.
Mm.
And I also think internet is fantastic. Do not get me wrong. But I feel like because there's so much out there, everyone gets so distracted on other people's journeys, compare where they're at to where they're at. And they think, well, maybe I should be that. I should be right now. I should have that. Whereas they don't see all the work that goes behind the scenes to where that person is. Or I don't think a lot of people these days put a lot of their failures on Instagram or TikTok or where they are, 14, 15-hour days, or it took 3 months to record this single or write, or I've been singing for 15 years. And then they come to like, oh, but that person just got a recording contract. You're like, but what's their story? Like, how did they get there? Or like, oh, how come I don't sound like that? Or yeah, so I think it's just that self-doubt and comparison. I think that's the bigger killer for creatives and singers, because they compare themselves so much to other people.
Yes.
Versus be true to yourself, develop you, and that's who you are, and try and be you and be true to yourself, and try not to, compare. It's so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, and a lot of self-love and knowing who you are and understanding who you are in your journey, and then share that with people. Yeah. And rejection. I think people are worried about rejection. Don't worry about that. They're not your people.
Exactly. So, yeah, feeling included, being good enough. And it's so easy now in the world of social media to just get caught up, as you said, in someone else's journey, and then forgetting that you are in your own lane. You have your own lane, and just put those blinders on like a horse does and just keep going forward without having to try to be like someone else, because no one is you.
100%.
And once, people realize that, wow, there's only one Stacey Jane, and that is me. No one else can do it like me, even if I sound different, even if I look different, even if whatever it is, and just accepting that, as you said, wholeheartedly, people can just soar. And I witness it time and time again in my coaching programs, and it's so beautiful to see. I hate that we have this society of comparison, my friend, she wrote a book. It's called Comparisonitis, and it really is like an epidemic, comparisonitis, where we're comparing to the next person, and not just performing artists, but people in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a big topic. So self-sabotage, and it's just like, how does this all begin, and why did it all begin? And this is what I love diving.
Where did it come from?
Exactly. I love diving.
It's heartbreaking to see when some people do that and they're crying, and you're just trying to get through to them, and it's okay. Like, you're you, and be you, embrace you. And they're like, well, why can't I? Yeah, it is. It's sometimes it's heartbreaking. Sometimes when they do get through that other side, you're like celebrating. Because only you can really see and help yourself. You can try and help as many people as you can, but until they see that and accept it, I think that's where you come in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how long do you want to suffer for? How long do you want to make yourself keep suffering for? And what is this payoff of your self-sabotage? What's the ultimate payoff? How long do you want to live like this? And I ask these deep questions, and I do brilliant exercises like, okay, think about yourself, when you're 90 years old, and look back to this age now. What would you say to yourself?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Do you want to get to 90 and have all these regrets? Oh my gosh, when I was 14, I just thought I wasn't good enough, and I compared myself to Kylie or whoever it is. And then you get to old age and you're like, that stuff wasn't even important. And I wasted so much time thinking about this stuff when I could have saved time, written my own music, recorded my own music, put it out there, and just see what happens.
And exactly. And just share what you have with everybody.
Yeah, I think the other thing, Stace, is for what purpose do you want to be an artist? So if it's, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to send out a message? Do you want to reach certain people? Do you just want to be famous? Because finding that reason why you're on this journey, I think, is key to, one, longevity, and two, getting out of your head.
Oh, totally. It's for them to discover, and that's why I call it a vocal journey or a creative journey, because it's just, sometimes people have to go through this to have that realization, and then you're like, okay, you ready? And there's the fire. Let's go. It's burning. Let's go.
Like a flower that's about to bloom. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Stacey, it's time for your first curveball. Are you ready to play?
All right. Yes, I am.
Stacey, what's something? Oh, this is a good one for you, because I know some, but the listeners don't. What's something that most people don't know about you?
Oh, I don't know.
I do.
What?
You had a really cool job.
Oh, tell me.
You had a really cool job once when you were young. You worked as a performing artist.
Oh, yeah, I've worked. Oh, I used to in pantomimes as well, and I played Willy Wonka once, and that was terrible.
How come?
I could not pull off. Well, obviously, I don't have a male voice, and I remember children going out to the audience saying, "I have a secret. What is it?" And one little boy said, "You're a girl. You're not Willy Wonka." And it threw me off my game. I'll come back to you later, and then off I went.
Do you know I had to play Peter Pan once in Year 4? Yeah.
No. Wow.
I played Peter Pan. That's so funny. But Stacey's had like this really cool career, guys, and she's done like some really amazing things. And I think you can forget that.
Yes. I think because you're so involved in your students and their journey that, it's not really about you. It's trying to bring out the best in them. And I do chat to people, but I don't tell them everything. But I think that's also part of my teaching, is what I've been through, and that's what I pass down to people. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Let me pass that on to you, or give you a piece of advice that I've gone through in that part, or how it feels to be, feeling, self-sabotage, or those thoughts that come in. You're like, stop those out.
I remember being in theatre shows and being backstage in the wings, curtains about to open, and I would think, why am I doing this? I could have just done an admin job. I've got, the curtain's about to open. I don't even know what my first line is right now. My heart's pumping. Oh, gosh. All right, Helen, are you ready to go? Yep. I'm just going to remember the line when I get on stage and the curtain's open, and you just hope for the best that all of your preparation is just going to be there on the spot. But that happens so many times.
It could be just the nerves, I think, as well, that self-doubt.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, hang on a minute. Do I even know the line? Do I even know the first sentence? Do I know what's the song I'm singing? Yeah.
Have you had any funny moments on stage that you can remember?
Yes. I was doing a show and it was part of a medley, and the director had cut. So I used to have lots of dancers behind me for some shows. Other shows I used to have just by myself. But the music director, had put a really long medley in when the should have just put like one of my solos in. And this is a really good learning curve for me and everybody else. It was from a distance, Bette Midler. And I only literally learned probably like 20, 30 seconds of the song. But I'll never have to learn the whole thing. I know, because I had so much going on, learning curve for me. But she'd accidentally, instead of putting the medley in, she put the long 5-6 minute version in. So I've walked off the stage, didn't have the dancers on. And as I'm walking off, they're saying, what are you doing? Get back on stage. The music keeps playing. I was like, I don't know the rest of the lyrics. I don't know the rest of the lyrics. They're like, I don't care, get on. So I had to stand on stage and sing a song and make up the words and repeat it. And I remember getting off stage and feeling terrible. And they're like, no, it was great. Fantastic. And that night, my Nana was in the audience, and she's a huge Bette Midler fan.
Oh.
I remember going up to her afterwards. She goes, you've butchered that. I went, what? Because I knew those words. They were incorrect. Nana, come on, let's go. Don't tell anyone. Oh, yeah, so I'll never forget that night.
So funny.
The number one fan was in the audience, my Nana, and I butchered the song. And I thought, next time I will learn the entire song. I was only about 19.
That's hilarious. I remember I was on stage once and we had those headsets. It was a musical. Yeah, right. And so me and my partner, we were doing our piece and we had an embrace or a kiss. I can't even remember. My hair was big and wavy. And so my hair got stuck on his microphone. And so we tried to pull apart, right, to end the scene, and we couldn't pull apart.
Oh, no.
And so it looked like we were in this forever kiss, and all I felt was his shoulders shrugging up and down, and I thought, oh, he's laughing. And then I was like, pulled the microphone away from my mouth, and I said, I'm stuck. And then all I felt was his shoulders shrugging up and down, laughing, and we had to shuffle off stage together. And gosh, that was so funny. That's what I love about live stuff.
Yes. And you learn from that, and half the time the audience don't even know, except for my Nana.
All right, Stacey, let's talk about self-sabotage.
Yeah.
How does self-sabotage show up? We spoke about it briefly, but how does it show up for your students? Like, what do you witness? And can you share any specific examples, especially, for those people that are listening here today so that they can think, oh, actually, you know what? I think I do that too. Because sometimes people aren't aware of the self-sabotage habit.
Yeah, there's so many examples. So I think it can be a family member when they're younger and then telling them, oh, you can't sing, or, oh, what are you worrying about that for? And then that does evolve and grow. And, I think you're so impressionable growing up, even now, but I think more so when you're younger because you look to your family and your friends for guidance. And I do have a lot of people that have that with family. And then I have others that have been exposed in the industry for auditions and, directors saying they're terrible or you didn't get the audition. And then them taking that personally and thinking, well, there must be something wrong with me that I never got the lead or I never got that part and then it does. And I think it just grows from there and it's okay. And then they do it again. They get knocked down and then it does. And then they think, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe it's that why I'm not getting that and that's the entertainment industry, I think you have to turn around and say, no, hang on a minute. It's not about their opinions. It's about me and loving myself and growing and just sharing what I have. And you're entitled to your opinion, but if, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that. Like the world is a huge place. There's a place for everyone in this world, and just go out there and create it and be who you are and share your voice. And as we were talking before, do you have a story to tell, or do you want to just be out there because your why? Like, why do you do it? What inspires you? Who inspires you? And and have fun.
Yeah.
Don't take it so seriously.
And sometimes the people that you are surrounded by growing up who hold you down a little bit, the reason they tell you things could be because of their own fears of possibly you getting hurt maybe in an industry, or their own fears around maybe something that they never accomplished. And I remember growing up, my dad, I used to sing all the time in my room, and my dad would say, your voice isn't good. Something's missing in your voice, which really set me on a detrimental path of not feeling good enough for so long. But luckily, the good thing about my dad is he also taught me about a growth mindset. And so I understood that, okay, well, I can just go and do singing lessons and work my little ass off and learn how to do the things that I'm not good at doing, or the vocal things that I'm not good at doing. But
get help.
Yes, that mindset stuff takes work to get through. And so if you don't feel supported and you don't know how to get through that, then definitely invest in help, because at that age, I didn't have that mindset help. I only had my little self, and I was like, I'm going to go get a job and I'm going to pay for my own singing lessons and I'm going to do this myself. But had I had someone to help with my mindset stuff and understanding that, my dad's beliefs are his and I don't need to subscribe to them. If someone just told me that, it would have had such a different impact in my life.
Yeah, it would have. And they do it out of love, I hope, a lot of them. But, I think also because as we were talking about before, is like you were trying to find this place in this world, or where do I fit in, and will they like me? And they're so worried about, I was doing this and my voice broke, and then mum was laughing. I was like, no, it's fine. Like, mum thinks she's not laughing at you. She's just thinks that's funny. And then sometimes that does take a toll. They're like, oh, well, I'm not going to sing high anymore. My voice breaks if my mum laughs. And you're like, no, it's okay. And sometimes it's educating also the people around them, saying, is it cool if you just kind of like, it sounds terrible, don't react if something happens, because it's affecting them.
Yeah. Sometimes, parents, they don't know how to support well, which is no fault of their own. We don't get a handbook on how to raise kids.
I have a 3-year-old. Yeah.
But it is always great to collaborate with other people. And, when I do coaching programs with kids, I love meeting the parents so that we can all work together to create better, healthy habits.
It is. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Stacey, it's time for your next curveball. Are you ready to play?
I am.
Stacey, what's your favorite form of self-care?
Oh, I love meditating.
How often do you meditate?
Every day, sometimes twice a day.
Are you a morning person or a night?
Oh, I'm a morning person. I'm up very early.
Me too. What time do you wake up?
Sometimes 4:30 and sometimes about 5:15.
That's why I love you. It's just our souls do the same thing. I love that.
Yes. The sun comes up and it's a fresh day, and it's beautiful.
And you have a 3-year-old. So how beautiful is that quiet time?
It's fantastic until she finds out that I'm downstairs.
Mum's awake.
Mum's awake. Oh, yes, let's get up. I'm like, it's very early. Go back to bed. Cuddle time.
What time does she usually get up?
Sometimes 6, sometimes 7. Yeah. She rolls out of bed when she rolls out of bed. Yeah. But she's a morning person.
Yeah. I mean, it's better. I love the morning too. I love the stillness of the mornings. I love how just that silence of the morning. It's just my favorite time of the day. I'll always try to get to the beach if I get up real early so I can watch the sun crack, because I don't have kids yet, so I can still do this.
I love listening to the birds wake up.
Yeah.
When you hear them and then they start to chirp and then talk to each other and then off they go.
When I was in primary school, kindergarten, year 1, I remember going to the office one day and there was this old lady at the front and we were talking about waking up, and I said to her, "What time do you wake up?" And she said, "Oh, very early." I was like, "What time is early?" And she's like, "When the birds get up." And as a kid, I was like, "What time do the birds get up?" And yeah, I always remember that beautiful old lady in my primary school, because I do that now too.
That's me now.
I love sleeping early, waking up early and just feeling refreshed.
Yeah, energized.
So, Stace, we spoke about self-sabotage and possibly some of the reasons that it happens could be because of people that they're surrounded by influencing them accidentally in a negative way. Do you have any other reasons in your experience why self-sabotage might happen?
Confidence issues. Also, the social media aspect. So it's not necessarily people surrounding them. It could be that virtual world that people do pull themselves into unintentionally, and that's their new world. And then waiting on people commenting on their stories or their songs, or someone puts something up on their YouTube channel, and again, it's a whole other Pandora's box in there, isn't there?
I think it's huge for performing artists, the social media aspect, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. There's just so many things. And you're just so vulnerable. You know, even superstars, they get beat down by comments of people. And
it's terrible.
It's so terrible to become attached to someone's words when that's someone on the other side of the screen. Like, you don't know anything about that person. You have no idea who that person is, what they've achieved. Are they a person that you aspire to be like? Do you know what I mean? Like, who is this person that is taking your power and taking your confidence? Like, what if that person isn't the person that you want to role model and you're letting their words affect you?
Yes, definitely. And I like that you say, take their power, because then you're giving them everything that they want. They've done it. Okay, great. Perfect. I'll write that. And then, okay, well, you don't post anything for 6 months because you're so worried what someone else is going to say now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure nowadays you can just delete comments that you don't like. So take your power back, delete, see you later. Yeah, I don't need that type of energy in my posts or in my feed.
Go away now. Bye-bye.
Exactly. I have, friends that are constantly getting off social media, getting back on and getting back off. And I'm just like, why are you so inconsistent? I'm sick of seeing this and I'm sick of seeing that. And I'm like, well, why don't you just follow amazing people? Why don't you just look at amazing, happy, beautiful content that's inspiring?
Yeah. Yes.
Social media can be so beautiful, amazing, uplifting. And that's the only reason I use it for. If I feel like I get sucked into a negative vortex, I just throw the phone away and I'm like, whoa, this is not the energy that I want in my life.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, not going down that lane.
Take your power back, guys. You can take your power back and use social media for amazing things. And
certainly
not attached to other people's words, because you have no idea if they're the role model that you aspire to be like.
And most of the time they're not.
Most of the time they're not. Yes, exactly. We talked about authenticity. So you talk a lot about being true to yourself, and you are a vocal teacher that loves bringing that out in people.
I do.
How does one be authentic? I remember when I was a teenager, I remember Pink. Remember Pink, the artist? She was on radio and she said, the more I became myself, the more famous I was becoming. So I was like, oh, what? The more myself I became. And then I was like, what does that mean? So how does one be authentic, and what does that even look like?
I think it comes in all shapes and forms. It's, you're forever growing and changing and developing, and life is a journey, and trying to find, the good, as we're talking about in social media, trying to find love, trying to find positivity, surrounding yourself with so much that you stop trying to please people. You stop trying to worry what someone wants you to sound like. Like, I don't know, Auntie Bessie wants you to sound like her favorite artist. And you're like, well, thanks, Auntie Bessie, but I sound like me. Like, I will sing their cover and I'll make this on my own. And then Auntie Bessie turns around and says, oh, that's lovely.
Exactly.
But, it's just writing if you want to write, and releasing music if you want to release some music, and just, I think, taking off that expectation and weight off your shoulders, thinking that, what if they don't love me? What if I hate a bad note? All that, and just think, okay, you know what? If I hate a bad note, that's fine. Who cares? Or if no one likes it, that's okay. It's out there, or I'm up performing and I'm singing my heart out and I love this. I think that's part of becoming authentic and stop worrying about what anyone else says, and just get out there and have fun. Or just if you just want to sing in your room, whatever makes you happy.
That's beautiful. Take the pressure off.
Yeah.
Take off that heavy backpack of other people's expectations and just do you and see what happens.
Heavy weighted cloak. Get off.
Yes, exactly. And you'll feel so much more free. Stacey, it's time for your next curveball. Are you ready to play?
I am.
How do you shift from a negative to a positive mindset? What are some things that you do?
How could I explain that? I think because you're so in your own mind that I know I don't watch the news. It sounds terrible. So it's so depressing.
It's so depressing.
And especially when all that COVID stuff went on, I try to not surround myself with things that bring me down, I call them the vampire energy suckers, that just people that aren't good for you. Just try and surround yourself with good people. And if something does bring you down, water off a duck's back and just move on. That's their issue, and just, my husband calls it la la land, but I deal with real problems, but I choose not to deal with the world's whole, depressing stuff.
I don't think we need to watch the news. I think it is very depressing. I don't watch the news either. You hear everything.
I'm aware.
You hear everything that you need to
let
hear.
it consume my life.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've witnessed, my dad, for example, he listens to the news all day, like on radio and then on TV and then all night on radio. And I've noticed over the years how negative his mindset has become as just an influence from what the media says, which is so sad. So, yes, I love that. Do more of the things that light you up.
Exactly.
Stacey, before we wrap it up today, thank you so much for your time. But is there anything else that you would love to share, or anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to cover, or any wise words of wisdom?
Yeah, just be true to yourself. Learn to find the good in what you're doing. And it's a journey. I'm not going to say everything's going to be daisies and happy days and bunnies and fluffy teddies, but know that it doesn't have to all be negative. And just don't worry what people say. Just get out there, have fun, and share what you have with the universe, and make some magic happen.
Love that. Yes. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Yeah. Enjoy the process. Document the process. Write about the process. Sing about the process.
Yes. And it's not about the end. It's about, just going through it. Point A to point B, who cares? Just have fun.
That's the juice.
That's where you get in there and you work through it and find who you are. Find your voice.
Thank you so much, Stacey. I really appreciate your time today. I will put all of your links in the show notes. So if anyone wants to go ahead and contact Stacey, connect with Stacey, they're all there in the show notes for you. I hope you loved today's episode. It's just reminded me of how important it is to be in the right mindset and love yourself, and just stop worrying about pleasing other people or trying to meet someone else's expectations, and just do you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Stace.
Thank you times infinity for spending time with me. It really means a lot. Putting yourself first will really help escalate your goals, your dreams, and I love being on the journey with you. So make sure you come and tell me on my Instagram at Whole Health, which is HOL_health, and comment below this podcast photo to share your thoughts on my show today. And if you enjoyed it, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify so that I can keep bringing amazing value to you. I'm sending you truckloads of love, power, and joy. Bye for now.